Hello and welcome to this edition of Hardman Talks. I am Richard Jeans, technology analyst at Hardman & Co, and I am joined today by Steve Brown, CEO of accesso Technology Group. accesso is a leading provider of technology solutions for attractions and venues worldwide. Hello, Steve.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. You recently announced your fifth acquisition since the pandemic in OneRisk. Could you explain what OneRisk does, and why did you feel this was an important acquisition to make?
That's a great way to start. I was following OneRisk for quite some time, and people may wonder what in the world is OneRisk and what does that mean? Well, it's a liability waiver company, so digital waivers, and notably in the ski industry, the ski operators, the resort operators require their visitors, their guests, to sign liability waivers, whether it's for ski rentals, maybe it's for private lessons or group lessons. And it's very common, especially in North America. Thank you to our legal system. They require visitors to sign waivers for all kinds of things. And this year, for example, OneRisk digital waivers will be about 5 million individual waivers signed. And as I was looking across our ski footprint, if you will, and all the different elements of that, I realized that the waivers are an important part. And coincidentally, all of our customers on our SeriesWare platform, every one of them uses OneRisk. And I thought, this is kind of silly. We're outsourcing such a critical part of the e-commerce flow, the on-site purchasing flow to a third party. And we should bring that technology in-house and make it exclusive to accesso customers. And what that will also do is allow us to customize the product a bit more to fit our applications versus it being a plugin, if you will. So it'll be much more bespoke, much more customized. And it's one less thing that our customers have to worry about. They don't need to go to a third party, sign up for a waiver system. It'll just be part of their overall accesso platform and make it much easier for them. A big competitive advantage for us.
That's very interesting. So, after the initial success last year, how is accesso Freedom progressing? And could you briefly explain what Freedom does and what the size of the opportunity is?
Certainly. Well, first of all, Accesso Freedom is a food and retail platform. And people often say, why in the world would you get into food and retail? There's a million of those products out there. Well, this product is at the very, very upper end. It competes with the Oracle level solution. And, today it's not about having a till, so to speak. It's all about digital, mobile ordering, kiosk ordering, anything self-service. And most of the technology out there is a bit dated. This platform is very robust, state-of-the-art, multi-tenant SaaS product, but importantly, we have it connected to our ticketing system. And so when a ski operator, to stay on that particular market, has a customer with a season pass that receives a 10% discount maybe in the restaurants, those can talk to each other and validate their discount against their ski pass. And that's something that operators really struggle to sort out is how is my food system or our retail system going to validate these entitlements or these offers that are part of the ticketing platform? And so providing that really completes, I guess that integration, if you will, for customers. But it also gives us a new revenue opportunity inside the gate, inside the actual venue. We have a lot of business on the outside selling the tickets, getting into the gate. We obviously have virtual queuing, but we were missing the food and retail piece that was revenue, really, technology revenue going to another provider. And so it's a way for us to boost our overall check average with our clients. And importantly, it's a significant competitive advantage. Last week, we signed our 33rd customer for a brand new product. We're quite happy to be out there with 33 customers now for something that we only launched, gosh, a year and a half ago. And I would say that at least half of our sales pipeline at this point is customers or prospects looking at both products, both ticketing and food and retail alongside each other. So it's going to become a very important part of our business. And it's a SaaS percentage of revenue product. So from my view, it can sell right alongside our ticketing platform and it can grow into be, just as much of a powerhouse for us from a revenue perspective as we have in the ticketing business.
Certainly seems to have a lot of momentum there. The middle income consumer is crucial in the global leisure industry. What feeling are you getting for the middle income consumer in your markets?
To be honest, things are definitely a little softer than I would like. This year has been a bit of a roller coaster as it always is, but there's certainly some holdback on the consumer front. I wouldn't say it's overly significant, but we're not seeing the uptick you typically see in the summer months. People are being very thoughtful, it seems, about their experiences. They're still going to theme parks, they're still going to ski resorts, but there's definitely a little bit of tempering happening across the marketplace. But I don't think that's stopping any, of our customers and the market overall. They're putting in new roller coasters, they're building new parks. Everything has a cycle, and this is one of those years where perhaps it's a little bit softer. Some venues are doing great. Others are running midline compared to last year. So it's not the year where you're like, wow, it's a boom year, but it's a good year, relatively in line with our expectations. Again, some up, some down. And one of the advantages we have is our portfolio is so diverse. We have lots of different markets, lots of different types of technology, but also geographically. So when it's a little bit warm in the northeast of the US, it may be great in the UK or vice versa. So what we're seeing now as the company is growing at our size now is it kind of all comes out in the wash at some level. Because while one area or one product may be, a little soft, another one's doing really well. And so the scope and the diversity of our business is really a strength for us. When you think about, the consumer trends that may change or economics that may change, having that diversity really is helpful.
Great. And what are the developments in your go-to-market strategy? And do you have any news on new hires, including the Chief Commercial Officer?
Well, interesting you should ask, actually, ironically. Following this interview, I have an in-person interview with one of the candidates for the Chief Commercial Officer. He'll be joining me here in the office in just a few minutes. We've begun our search about a month ago, and so we're kind of working our way through the candidates. I have a very high bar in terms of the type of person I'm looking for this role. What I will say, though, is in the interim, I've been leading the team really since the beginning of the year and really happy with the results. We're only halfway through the year, so it's too soon to call, but I can say that our run rate on new wins is significantly higher than it was in the prior year. We seem to be moving at a bit more pace. And so I'm looking for a leader that can kind of continue that and also, importantly, really think about our global sales infrastructure and our go-to-market outside of North America and kicking that up a notch.
That's great. And how is your technology roadmap evolving, particularly in regards to composable commerce?
Well, you were really timely because we just launched our first pilot for composable last week. So composable commerce, just to give a brief explanation, is when you take all the different components of an e-commerce application and you separate them into pieces, that then allows you to sort of drag and drop the pieces and design more ad hoc or more bespoke layouts for individual venues. Our e-commerce today is a bit more static. You go from choose your ticket, put it in your cart, check out. The screens are relatively, static, if you will. Composable allows us a lot more flexibility and customization for the individual venue, for their brand, for their particular product. And so we've been working now for about 2 years on taking our passport product, accesso Passport, and transforming that into a composable commerce engine that can sit across or in conjunction with all of our ticketing products. And so we just launched our first pilot. Again, it's you walk before you run, but early results are good. It's working very well, and I think it's going to be the next generation of our e-commerce leadership.
That's very interesting. And you give a very detailed geographical breakdown in the 2024 results across 19 markets. However, most of the regions are very small. So what is the opportunity to lift the smaller regions to, say, the levels of Canada, Australia, where you're at $5 or $6 million revenue, or ultimately to the UK levels at 30 million plus? And where do you see the greatest opportunities across the smaller geographies?
That's again back to the sort of key deliverables for the chief commercial officer is to target those markets, determine which ones are the highest value, highest growth opportunity, and how you align those with our products, right? Because you've got to have the right product in the right market. And it's not as simple as it might seem. You need physical compliance in countries like Spain or Germany. So how do we align our products with the markets and those opportunities and then prioritize them with a go-to-market strategy, which is sales team, marketing, the whole picture. So we're not just sort of shooting darts at different places on the map, but having a very orchestrated approach to those different geographies. I think there's significant opportunity in regard to the sort of attractions we don't think about, right? We've just signed a very popular castle in Romania. I'm not sure I can say the name out loud. I'm not sure on the terms there. Very possible number one visitor attraction in Romania, from my understanding. Who would think about accesso selling to a castle in Romania? Those are the
True.
kind of opportunities that I think are very important for us, is to understand where those types of venues are, whether it's a theme park or a castle or an aquarium or a cable car, any of those. There are so many across the world. It's not getting stuck on the logos of a Disney or a Universal or a Six Flags, but thinking about all those other opportunities that are out there and going out into market to find those and bring them into one of our products. That's the big opportunity.
That's very interesting. Steve, thank you for your time.
Thank you as always.
Yeah. You can view our research on accesso for free on our website, hardmanandco.com. As always, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and join in the conversation wherever you're watching. See you next time.